Oopsie, wrong button. Let's try this again. Let's go back to... This is the Dzogchen Sunday Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. It is General Leia Organa Saturday evening. Come, let us meditate like a Jedi. After chanting our opening recitation of the discourse on enlightenment factors given to Arahant Kassapa by the Buddha. Actually, this is going to be an excerpt, if that's okay. Please chant with me. By the way, I recommend chanting from your diaphragm. The easiest way to do that effortlessly is to touch each thumb to its ring finger. Mindfulness and enlightenment factor Kassapa is well expounded, cultivated, and fully developed by me. So our job is to notice whatever seems to cartwheel across the metaphoric stage of our mind. Whether that which we notice is a sight, sound, sensation, flavor, scent, or the like, including the full spectrum of human emotions, intentions, cognitions, recollections, or imaginings. Please chant with me. Mindfulness leads to special knowledge, to realization of the noble truths unto Nibbana. The first noble truth is stress. There are circumstantial stressors, physical stressors, interpersonal stressors, and mental stressors. Perceiving a stressor is not an indictment. It is a necessary function if we are to survive, both as individuals and as a species. Please chant with me. Vulnerable investigation of phenomena, enlightenment factor Kassapa is well expounded, cultivated, and fully developed by me. Whether we are practicing meditation or whether we are trying to practice science, if we hide our perceptions behind a filter of fear or pride or preconceptions, we are doing ourselves a great disservice. The key to practicing mindfulness is to notice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly. Together. Together. Vulnerable investigation leads to special knowledge, to realization of the noble truths unto Nibbana. Sometimes, some say the second noble truth is the cause of stress. Some say the cause of stress is desire. Others say the cause of stress is the duality of desire and dread. Still others say the cause of stress is the trinity, if you will, of desire, dread, and delusion. That is a literalist interpretation. Figuratively, our stress is multiplied not by having a portion of our brain that has evolved to respond to stressors, but by being stuck in that part of our brain that forever is asking, hey, that new thing over there, should I fuck it? Should I feed on it? Should I fight it? Should I flee from it? Should I fawn over it? Should I faint before it? This might keep us alive. but it's not going to help us experience fulfillment. Please chant with me. Energy, enlightenment, factor, kasapa, is well expounded, cultivated, and fully developed by me. The more we authentically practice mindfulness and meditation, perhaps every 12 hours or so, the more our choices and utterances and deeds will flow. Not from contrived calculation. I'm sorry, not from contrived calculations, not from wild scatterness, but instead from love's deeply centered spontaneity. This is known by many names, such as right effort, or effortless effort, or doing without doing, or wu wei, or going with the flow, or being in the zone, or expedient means. Energy leads to special knowledge, to realization of the noble truths, and to nibbana. The third noble truth is cessation. Some people would say it's cessation of dread, or cessation of dread and desire, or cessation of desire, dread, and delusion. That's a literalist point of view. Figuratively, it's simply cessation of the tyranny of our survival impulses. They're there, and there are times when they serve us, but they don't control our choices, utterances, and deeds. Please chant with me. Love's joy, enlightenment, factor, kasampa, is well expounded, cultivated, and fully developed by me. Sturgeon's law reminds us that 90% of everything sucks. Let's view this through the lens of archaeology and anthropology. Approximately 300,000 years ago, our Paleolithic ancestors enjoyed a culture described by proto-communism, wherein people were flexible, loving, rational, laid-back, egalitarian, lucid, cooperative, and kind. Sadly, about 13,000 years ago, that got switched on its head. And our Neolithic ancestors were subjected to a kind of proto-capitalism that reinforced individuals being rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel. When it comes to meditation, we can think of this as being matriarchy or proto-Buddhism, or patriarchy and institutional Buddhism. When people are under the thrall of institutional Buddhism or their own controlling tendencies, they tend to overwork, overfocus, and overanalyze, so exhausting their dorsolateral and medial prefrontal cortex that they trigger their amygdala, the seat of both anxiety and aggression. However, when they passively cooperate with both facets of their autonomic nervous system, also known as our spinal cord, it calms the anxiety and aggression of our amygdala, as well as gently stimulates the empathy of our anterior cingulate gyrus. How important is this love? It comprises 50% of the Buddha's Eightfold Path of Enlightenment. In that path, there is no mention of karma or vows, but there is substantial mention of love. Please chant with me. Love's joy leads to special knowledge, to realization of the noble truths unto Nibbana. Oh yes, so the fourth noble truth is the path to the cessation of the tyranny of our survival impulses. And that path is eightfold. Now, 8 can feel overwhelming to life forms that only have 5 digits on each hand. So it can be helpful to think of it this way. We have the right view of emptiness, of impermanence, no self, and emptiness. We have the act of bringing loving kindness into the 4 bases of mindfulness. And we have effortless effort. The cool thing is that the more we authentically practice mindfulness and meditation, maybe once every 12 hours or so, the more the remainder of the eightfold path takes care of itself. Perhaps that is why the Buddha insisted that one could master his path of enlightenment in as little as 7 days. The 7-day promise is taught in the Buddha's discourse on the 4 bases of mindfulness. Those on the path of proto-Buddhism are comfortable with this. Those on the path of institutional Buddhism do not feel comfortable with this. Let's chant. Inhalations, coalescence, enlightenment, factor, kasampa, is well expounded, cultivated, and fully developed by me. There is much confusion surrounding mindfulness. I have found that viewing mindfulness through the lens of neuroscience alleviates that confusion. Every time we inhale, we are wired to automatically access the middle bit of our spinal cord, the middle bit of our autonomic nervous system that functions as the core of our sympathetic nervous system. It has evolved to help us to notice in a very special way, to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice all mind's antics of perception, emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and imagination. All of them, from the external to the internal, from the physical to the mental, from the pleasurable to the painful, from the interesting to the boring, from the glorious to the grotesque. So there's something rather amusing. During our inhalation, as air enters our lungs, awareness of perceptions, emotions, intentions, thoughts, memories, and imaginings enters our mind. Please chant with me. Inhalations, coalescence leads to special knowledge, to realization of the noble truths unto Nibbana. Exhalations, tranquility, enlightenment, factor, kasampa, is well expounded, cultivated, and fully developed by me. We've already discussed mindfulness, but what do we do with all those things that we noticed? Simple. In a word, we meditate. But there's so many teachings on meditation, many of them contradict each other. So let's clarify things by viewing meditation through the metaphoric lens of neuroscience. Every time we exhale, whether we know it or not, we have evolved to automatically access both the tippy top and the very bottom of that same spinal cord or core of our autonomic nervous system. Together, these regions, working as a team, function as the core of our parasympathetic nervous system, which has evolved to help us to physically relax and mentally release during our exhalation to such a degree that that which we noticed during our previous inhalation could fleetingly feel less stressful, less permanent, and less defining. And even as non-graspable as a vast empty void, the more we practice authentic mindfulness and meditation, the more we cannot help but master impermanence, no self, and emptiness. You see, consider, if you will, the phrase as non-graspable as a vast empty void. This is a simile, and a simile is only as effective as it is relatable. So we have to ask the question, what is a real-world example of a non-graspable, vast empty void? How about the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although could look tantalizing to the eye, feels non-graspable to the hand? But what about not self? Simple. We are wired to label our experience. That is neither good nor bad, it simply is. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever experience of labeling, whatever experience of self we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could feel as if it was fleetingly less stressful, less permanent, less defining, and less graspable. What about impermanence? Simple. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever sense of permanence we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could fleetingly feel less stressful, less permanent, less defining, and even less graspable, at least for a moment, at least for a certain degree, until our next inhalation and the cycle begins anew. Please chant with me. Exhalation's tranquility leads to special knowledge, to realization of the noble truths and nibbana. Remedial equanimity or balance, enlightenment factor, kasapa, is well expounded, cultivated, and fully developed by me. So, equanimity or balance does not mean that we literally cannot tell the difference between milk chocolate and doggy doo. All that it means is that we share the same antidote for everything. Whether we notice pleasure or pain, the antidote is simply noticing and relaxing in harmony with our inhalation and our exhalation. Whether we're noticing the external or the internal, once again, the antidote is the same. We notice and relax. Whether we notice the interesting or the boring, the antidote is the same. We notice and relax. Why do we silently and mentally recite these verbs? Do we do it to coerce our sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems to do their job? No. They do their jobs whether or not we notice it, like an app running in the background on our smartphone. We play with these two verbs in harmony with our breathing to remind our will, to remind our volition, to remind our intention that the purpose of spending a few minutes in seated meditation once every 12 hours or so is to give our central nervous system a relaxing break from the exhausting habit of actively fighting against our own autonomic nervous system. Please chant with me. Remedial equanimity or balance leads to special knowledge, to realization of the noble truths unto Nibbana. Let's switch gears. For the remainder of this evening's live stream, to sit and breathe and notice and relax. Although there is no need or benefit in chasing trance, working with our energy strategically can help us to sit sustainably. Let's use two tools to gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to coalesce at the crown of our head. Our first tool is simply reframing our respiratory frame of reference, which sounds more complicated than it is. Every time we feel air enter our nostrils, silently and mentally we can recite the verb noticing. Every time we feel air exit our nostrils, silently and mentally we can recite the verb relaxing. Please don't concentrate on your nostrils. Concentration, which uses the front of our brain, is antithetical to mindfulness. Passive mindfulness, which uses the middle bit of our spinal cord. Different ends of our central nervous system. What do we do when our mind wanders? Let it. As you breathe in, notice whatever cartwheels across the stage of your mind, whether it's interesting, boring, glorious, or grotesque. As you exhale, cooperate with your body's natural tendency to relax, regardless of whether that which you noticed was pleasurable or painful. The second method we can use to gently guide our energy is to play with our fingers. Let us use our left index finger. Oopsie, that's my right one. Let's use our left index finger to support the lower knuckle of our right index finger, palms up in our lap. Now let's talk about timing or meditation. In addition to our left index finger supporting our right index finger, our left thumb has a job to do. We can place the tip of our left thumb upon the lower set of creases of its little finger. Doing so helps us to keep track of our first set of 12 inhalations. How do we count the actual inhalations? Upon our right hand. Every time we inhale and silently and mentally recite the verb noticing, we can advance our right thumb across the creases found on the underside of our 4 left fingers. Together, let us practice for about a minute. Having run out of finger creases on my right hand, it's time to advance my left thumb to its next set of creases. And now you get the basic idea of how we could count 12 sets of 12 inhalations each. Doing so takes approximately 12 minutes. And if you wish to count multiple sets of 12, either you can keep track on different fingers or in different knuckles of the same finger. So for instance, this would be our first 12 minutes, our second set of 12 minutes, and maybe our third set of 12 minutes. But it's not the only game in town. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist philosophy or meditation, do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window, for I tend to check for questions about once every 6 minutes or so. Checking for questions. Checking for questions. So at this point, let's count a second set of 12 inhalations. I'm sorry. Let's keep track of our second collection of 12 sets of 12 inhalations by sliding the tip of our left index finger to the second knuckle of our right index finger. Whoops, I got ahead of myself. Sorry about that, guys. It's time to go over here and begin counting our seventh set of 12 inhalations. Let us energetically switch gears or shift gears. To shift our respiratory frame of reference. Well, let me jump back for a second. To gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to coalesce in our chest. Every time we feel our chest subtly swell as we inhale, we could silently and mentally recite the verb noticing. Every time we feel our chest subtly sink, as gently we exhale, we can silently and mentally recite the verb relaxing. When it comes to using our fingers for this energetic shift, instead of using our index finger, let's use our left middle finger to support the lower knuckle of our right middle finger, palms up in our lap. Checking for questions. Checking for questions. You have taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. For Meditate Like a Jedi is made possible thanks to the generosity of viewers just like you. In approximately 11 hours, I would very much like to return to lead tomorrow's dawn, recitation, explanation, and practice of meditating like a Jedi. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.